And away we go. It is the Aftermath right here on BearcatJournal.com, brought to you as always by our good friends at Mio's Pizza in Clifton. And, anytime you're in and around campus, make sure you're stopping in to see our good friends at Mio's. They will get you taken care of. Great pizza, great drink selection, and love the hoagies, good appetizers, love the potato wedges. So support those that support us. Stop by, see our good friends at Mio's. And while you're there, make sure you get yourself an ice cold Cincy Light in the process. All right, Aaron, let's get to it. Bearcats 84, Grambling State 49. It was a dominating performance by the Bearcats as they close out the non-conference portion of the schedule. You feel it was a boring game. I feel anytime you win by 35, you take it and keep it moving. Let's have your opening thoughts on the game today.
There were certainly some dunks anyway. Always love that. I think Dylan had a couple really awesome dunks. His windmill with his left hand, enjoyed that one. Also enjoyed the poster he put on Grambling State. Aziz played really well, and we saw some extended minutes out of your bench. I think that's probably easily the most minutes that Halvin Zella has played.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Tyler Betsy, CJ Frederick this season anyway. But a lot of extended minutes for some guys that we don't generally see. They handled business. It was a second half anyway, was almost a walkthrough. First half was probably a little closer towards the end of the first half than any of us wanted it to be, as they had gotten out early and they let the lead dwindle a little bit down to, I think, 12, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they had a 9-0 run right at the end of the half that kind of...
You don't like to see that.
Made it feel like it was going to be closer. I will say that is... I know their metrics are bad, and that's because when they played anybody that hasn't been a high major team, they haven't played well. But they played Ole Miss well. They played Florida well. Like, they have stepped up in these games when they've stepped up in weight class. So I was a little weary. I thought a lot of the game was going to look like that portion, that segment right around halftime. But, I mean, you come out, you get 5 finishes at the rim in the opening segment. You're up 11-3, I think, at that point in time it was. You had a feeling they were going to coast, but also, Jason, thank you for a 31-month membership. I think, Jason, have you been a member literally since we started this channel? Have we been doing this channel
since inception?
31 months.
Let's go.
But yeah, I mean, I always worry about Aaron. Sometimes those hot starts are like bad news because then they feel like, oh, well, this is going to be easy. We can just put it in cruise control. And
right.
Then, the other team ends up hanging around for a while. But they started hot the first half. They started hot, especially in the second half. And it quickly, maybe the second member after Tonk. That's crazy. Appreciate you, brother. Second half, they put their foot on the gas quick. And it went from, is Grambling going to hang around in this thing to, no, now all we get to do is worry about if Brent is going to win or lose his bet.
Was he there today?
No, he wasn't. But he can't resist. 29.5. No. I would have lost a pretty substantial amount of money on 29.5 because I would have taken the under just as much as I hate these. Like, it's a lot of points, and it's the day before a holiday. You just played 2 days before in a pretty intense game with Dayton. I didn't know exactly how they would look. So overall, I was pleased. they've got to get the 3-point shooting back on track. They are a much better 3-point shooting team than they have shown in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That, you know, I agree with Wes in that I think they're taking mostly good shots. Mostly. But they're not hitting at a high clip right now, and they need to get back in that rhythm for Big 12 play, because if you're shooting 28% from 3 in the Big 12, you're in some trouble. But
yeah, Dan Jizzle and Simas tallying 3 of 17 behind the arc is really, really bad.
Yeah. 1 of 5, 1 of 6, and 1 of 6. Now, Day continues to shoot it pretty well.
Yes. Shot
CJ
doctor
Frederick hit one. The shot doctor has got Day on track. Tyler Betsy, 2 of 7. He had a bunch of open ones that he usually hits that in and out. So, happy holidays, Steven. Appreciate you always being around. Would like to have seen Rayvon play a little bit more with the bigger lead. Yeah, I guess. Connor Hickman did not play today. He's got some soreness in his foot. It was there before the Dayton game. I saw him getting it kind of worked on by a trainer before the game, and I asked if his foot was okay, and the answer was, you'll find out on Sunday. So this was kind of planned, that he wasn't hurt enough that they weren't going to play him against Dayton, but they did have a plan to sit him out for this one and get him ready for conference play. Ed, thank you. Much appreciated. Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Ed.
I'll give that to you, Aaron. That's your Christmas. Ed just donated your Christmas bonus. Venmo that over to you.
Might take the Jelly Club over the $2, but
but I mean, overall, I haven't been upset, and they shot it better in the second half. 6 of 17 in the second half. They were just ice cold early. But they did, they hit 9. I'll take 9. You'd like a little bit better percentage if you make 9, but
sure.
For the most part, Grambling State was playing kind of a zone, kind of daring Cincinnati to take open threes, which I thought the ball movement was pretty good. Like, there was a lot of kickouts. There was a lot of like rhythm threes. It wasn't guys just like standing around dancing and firing one off. The ball moved pretty well. You just got to hit at a higher clip. They're in a little funk right now from 3, Aaron.
Well, coach doesn't like that F word, so be careful with that. That said, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. You figure that against a team like Grambling State, when you have the lead that you have, you're probably shooting some shots that maybe you wouldn't shoot against a Dayton, against a Xavier, against a Big 12 team. Get it all out now. I'm good with getting it all out now and then taking the higher percentage shots. What's a little concerning for me, though, is seeing Dan 3 of 10 from the field all day. We haven't seen him yet in his play really get off to at least a high percentage day. He still looks like he's trying to find his rhythm offensively. Rebounding, he's been phenomenal. It's just a matter of finding that shot, especially behind the arc. He's looked, I don't want to say uncomfortable, because he looks like he's shooting, at least as far as the mechanics go. From what I can tell, it looks normal. It doesn't look like anything's off. But of course, that's me watching from my couch, as opposed to some of the eyes that the team has on his mechanics. So
yeah, I mean, and here's what I would say on Simas. He's still over 40% from 3 on the season, which ultimately is where you want him. And when you see a guy shoot for a stretch the way that he shot it, where he was like 70% from 3,
Mhm.
Water is going to find its level. He's
Always
going to be
does,
about
yeah.
a 42% three-point shooter. And that means there's going to be a correction because he shot 70% on like heavy volume from three.
Well, and
Like he was taking 8 a game and making 6.
if you expected him to finish at 70% at the end of the season, that would be the best season ever in the history of ever.
But I think people forget what the math has to do to get him back down into that 42% range. He's got to miss quite a few to get back there.
I think when you're not playing teams like a Grambling State, you're probably going to be a little bit more conscientious of
judicious.
Yeah, just taking better shots and knowing what's going on in the flow of the game. But when you have the type of lead that you had and you're just trying to find that rhythm again, find that shot again, maybe you take some shots that you wouldn't otherwise. So I'm not putting a ton into this.
Yeah, especially scoring 84 and shooting that poorly from the three-point line. And like fake John Goebel says, a few of them look good. They just didn't drop. That's basketball sometimes for you. You get clean looks, and then you have those nights where you're guarded and they're draped all over you and you're throwing everything in and none of it makes any sense.
Like Cincinnati shooting 75% or better, like the last, 4 games from the line. Doesn't make any sense.
I think that's 3 games in a row they've been above 75% from the free throw line, largely because, their best free throw shooter was at the line quite a bit.
Aziz Bandega. I love it.
I think he's like it's like 13 of his last 16 from the line. So don't everybody freak out when he has like a 1 for 5 game. Water finds its level.
He is 29 of 39 on the season.
Pretty good. Pretty good. I think Keegan said coming into the game he was shooting better from the free throw line than he was from the floor.
I said that in our last show.
Or that was you. Yeah, that was you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It all blends together. You, Keegan.
We are not the same.
No, but I talked to you guys about this stuff, so it's hard to remember which one I talked to about.
I would never go to Chipotle in Vegas.
That's fair. It's fair. Dan really struggling shooting the ball since his return. Yeah, he hasn't dialed it in from 3 yet, but I never really have a problem with Dan just because his effort and his energy and all of the things that he does impacts the game a lot more than. Point being, there are some guys that if their 3-point shot is off, they don't do a whole lot else to help you, right? Like that's their superpower. Dan does so much stuff that if he misses some threes, I'm okay with it, in part because there's also going to be a time or two a game where he misses a 3 and then all of a sudden he Tasmanian devils his way into the lane, gets the rebound and scores before you know what happened.
4 of 20 on the season for Dan.
Yeah.
After today.
25%.
20.
Or 20%. Need to get that up a touch.
He was at 20% coming into the game at 3:15. So he is on pace.
1 for 5. I mean, that's as 20% as you can get.
Sure is.
3 rebounds, 3 assists, or 4 rebounds, 3 assists though.
2 blocks.
What is happening?
I can't answer that.
Go ahead.
Yep. But like I said, 3 of 10 from the field puts him for the season at 22 of 57. Not great, but not terrible. Again, he'll knock off the rust. This is his 4th game of the year, and he'll figure it out. To your point, he does fill up the stat sheet with all the other stuff, as he did have the 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, 3 assists. His defense
plus 33.
good again. This
Yeah.
team's really locked in on defense right now, and it's been really fun. As far as a boring game, that's part of what made it a boring game is this team's defense is so locked in.
I have so much fun watching Day play defense and just watching guards just get. I mean, the one guy wanted to fight him. Like, as soon as he came into the game, that guy was ready to fight him.
I have fun watching Day talk shit, and this is the second game in a row where he's almost been in a fight. So
he gets under people. Like, he's just that good at it. He is that good. You cannot lose him.
Would he be the Nat?
Take him. He would be a Nat. I think he would definitely be a Nat because it's constant.
Yep.
He's got some Nat qualities for sure. Just kind of looking 1 point. Oh, wow, I didn't realize it was that high. 60 possessions, 84 points. That is 1.4 points per possession for the Bearcats today. That's pretty efficient.
That's even shooting 28% from the 3-point line.
And only taking 20 free throws, 15 of 20 from the free throw line. Wasn't like it was a 26-30 free throw game. They didn't live there. Where they were good, 9 of 11 on dunks, 8 of 14 on layups. So 17 of their 30 baskets at the rim. I'll take that.
Sure. And the percentages are high enough where I can't be too upset with any of that. One of the missed dunks was Day trying to thunder it home with a tomahawk, and that didn't. He loves that dunk. That might be the only dunk he has in his arsenal, or at least his go-to.
Yeah.
But it's not. I think he missed one against Dayton where he tried to go up like that, but that one was a foul.
Yeah.
This was not that. This was just him getting hung.
I think he was a little worried about the guy behind him because the guy was chasing him hard, and I think you get a little nervous in those situations that they're going to keep running and undercut you. So you're maybe looking back a little bit. Yeah. Dylan, best dunker since Flight White. He's up there. Who
would you put
over him? The problem is that the two guys I would put up there were they weren't game dunkers.
Who would you put over him?
I don't know. Well, Darnell Wilkes and Shaq Thomas could really dunk, but never really in games. Like, they're dunk contest type dunkers, where Dylan Mitchell, I don't know how good he would be in a dunk contest, but he is as good as you can get in games.
I will disagree and say that I think he would be outstanding in a dunk contest.
I didn't say I said I don't know how good he would be in a dunk contest. Like,
I do. I know. Okay. Having watched him.
Okay. I haven't watched him a whole lot of like some of those guys, you'll see them like after practice, or they're all messing around with like their competition dunks. And Dylan just in the game takes off. I mean, the body he caught today on the baseline. Yeah, I just feel bad for old boy. Like, he don't jump. Oh, because he caught it.
Should have stayed out of the kitchen while Dylan was cooking.
He got you almost like you got to take it. Like, you got, coach, come get. I need to go to the bench for. I need a breather.
Just think about what you did.
Yeah.
go to the corner and think about what you just did.
There's some times that it's fine to just run by. Pass like ships in the night. Did a good job turnover wise. UC only had 6. They forced 16. That was kind of like the biggest edge in the game, I thought, in terms of like points. Cincinnati 25 points off turnovers. Grambling State 6. So just, not only did they turn them over a lot, but then 25 points on 16 turnovers. Like, you are taking their mistakes and really, really capitalizing on it. You could hear that man has a family after that dunk.
You also had 17 assists on 30 shots today, and that's
better.
an extremely high clip.
Yeah, it's going to be higher against the bye games, the teams that aren't as good, largely because you just throw lobs. And I mean, the first 5 were literally just right at the rim. Like, I think they were 5 of 7. They missed 2 threes and had 5 right at the rim. Good to see UC didn't look sloppy today. Yeah, I mean, outside of like the actual 3-point shooting like percentages, I didn't have a much issue with today. Especially, they did see a lot of zone. They didn't really panic or like stall out as we've seen them at times, Aaron. They reacted pretty confidently to it. They moved the ball. They attacked the gaps. The funny thing is, I would guess Grambling probably wanted to do it more, like in their game plan. But every time they went to it, Cincinnati attacked it efficiently and got points off of it.
Yeah.
Blow my nose.
Oh, okay. At the end of the day, you had 3 guys in double digits. You had 2 more at 9 points. You had 3 more at 7 points. Plenty of time, like we said, for guys in that don't normally see the floor. So we'll start getting to the individuals, unless you got anything else, broad thoughts on the game, Chad.
I was just looking over it. I don't think I've got anything else. Second chance points, 19-8. You should have a huge advantage there. You're much bigger than them.
Yeah. 42
6
rebounds.
blocks, 9 steals. Yeah. I don't have a ton else now. Led for 38 minutes, tied for a minute and a half. So not too bad. Not too bad.
We'll take it.
This is an interesting one, Jason. Before I was thinking about this as I was watching. Would like to have seen them exploit the middle more against the 2-3 zone. I just don't know that they really have that yet. That guy that you can flash to the middle and that is comfortable making a play there. Catching it, squaring up, passing, driving, hitting that 15-footer, like the things you have to do to really hurt a zone from the middle. I was thinking myself through, like, I don't know who I would feel great in that role. Dylan, maybe?
I don't know how good he is at hitting that 15-footer. I almost think Jizzle might be the best in that role, but he's been, again, we talked about this last game. I feel like he's been a little hesitant to just take it straight at the hoop. I think he's been
You want somebody with some length, though, because you don't want the guards to be able to come from the side and, kind of close that gap. You want somebody that's got a little size for the person you flash to the middle of the zone. No, Natty Ron, a zone buster is somebody shooting over the top of the zone, shooting threes. I think that's a zone buster.
I don't know.
I just don't know who I would think is best suited for that role.
If Dylan can show that he can make the 15 on a regular clip, I'd be okay with it. But I just haven't seen him shoot enough actual jumpers outside of the now and again 3-pointer that he'll take because he's all alone. I don't know.
I do think, Dylan likes to face up. He can take a dribble or two and rise up if they play off or drive if they play tight. I agree. I think he's probably the best bet. It should be Dan, probably. But I don't trust Dan with a bunch of bodies around him in a small space making decisions off the bounce, or that makes me nervous.
I think that's the difference, though, between Dan being NBA ready and Dan being a college player.
Yeah. Fair. All right, we can go through player by player.
All right, I think I'm going to give my MVP today to Aziz Bandaogo. 5-6 from the field, 5-6 from the line. 5 offensive rebounds, 1 defensive, giving him 6 on the day, 1 assist, 2 fouls, 1 block, 21 minutes played.
No arguments there. Aziz was really good today. He did get a little fortunate early, a couple of those tip-in lobs where he was getting fouled and just kind of swatted the ball at the backboard and it goes in. He had 2 or 3 of those today overall, where it wasn't exactly, I wouldn't call it a dunk, but I don't know that I'd call it a layup either. It was more just a tap. Yeah, Gray Bush, I don't want Tasmanian Dan in the middle of the zone just crashing into stuff, because I think that's what he would do.
Pinball wizard.
Yeah.
Dylan Mitchell, 13 points, 6 of 9 from the field, 0 for 1 from the 3-point line, 1 for 1 from the line. That's improvement. 2 offensive rebounds, 5 defensive rebounds, giving him 7 on the day, 1 block, 3 steals. Those 7 rebounds led all Bearcats. 25 minutes played.
Yeah. Another effective game from Dylan. Not shooting it a lot, not playing out of his comfort zone, just letting the game come to him, being aggressive when he needs to be aggressive, active in the passing lanes, active on the glass, playing good defense all around.
A little bit of a bounce back game for him.
It was. Tasmanian Dan would put guys in the spin cycle, just might not have the ball at the end of it. That's exactly the problem, Jason.
There is a 20% chance he makes the shot. There is a 20% chance he has the ball at the end of the spin cycle. Day Thomas, 12 points, 4 of 9 from the field, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line, 2 of 3 from the stripe. 3 offensive rebounds, 2 defensive rebounds, giving him 5 on the day, 3 assists, 4 fouls, including the technical, 1 turnover, 3 steals in 14 minutes. That's an awful lot of stats for merely 14 minutes played. Just high energy day for Day. Taking care of things on the glass, taking just effective shooting. I thought his shot selection was excellent today, as opposed to some of the NBA threes he had been taking in the last couple of games.
He actually passed up 2 of them today.
I know he did. I remember one specifically. But like I said, just that's an awful lot of stats in just 14 minutes of play.
I think if I had to pick a player of the game, I'd go with Day again today. And well, I'd go with Aziz, but you went with Aziz. So if I had to pick somebody else, it would have been Day. He's a lot of fun to watch play basketball, man. He's a lot of fun to watch play basketball.
Wes Miller's filing paperwork to get 10 years of Day. He said so in the presser. So we'll see if he's able to get those 2 JUCO years extended to 8 years of collegiate play.
Wes literally would okay. Like I've seen people when the Pavia case, like when the ruling came down, they're like, would Wes? Yeah. Day can stay, like John Newman, Day, a couple guys that you can stay forever.
Look, we might see if they allow players to, if you're only taking one class to play.
John Newman's coming back.
You might see a comeback of John Newman.
I think Wes would move him into his house if he had to.
I'm not ruling out anything with John Newman. Tyler Betsy, 9 points, 3 of 8 from the field, 2 of 7 from the 3-point line, 1 for 1 at the free throw line. 2 offensive, 2 defensive rebounds, giving him 4 on the day. 20 minutes played. Like we said earlier, that's probably his most minutes that he's seen all season. I thought, again, you know he's a freshman. He does some freshman things, but today he just looked sound on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, he had a couple really good closeouts where he didn't get off balance or give the offensive player an advantage because he was closing out. Those are some of the things that, you really have to keep your eye on with freshmen because it's part of the stuff that they never really had to do in high school. Because essentially in high school, star players are told, we need points from you, not hard closeouts on the perimeter on, a kid, a shooter, a little bit different at the college level. So, no, Tyler, I think is he had two, I think that I thought they were in, and they just didn't fall for him. We're having a much different conversation if he makes 5 threes today instead of 2.
It's funny because every time I see him out there, I always forget that he's actually as tall and as big as he is. Because
he's a
you
big
feel
kid.
Yeah, you feel like he's just like a 6'5", 2, and he is not that.
No, he's 6'8", 220, 225.
Silly.
A big, thick, solidly built kid.
Just every time they show his face, though, I'm just thinking you're like a 6'5", 2, like Michael Jordan size.
Right.
He's
no.
More like Zach Randolph size. Silly. AP, Aaron Page today, 9 points, 3 for 3 from the field, 1 for 1 from the 3-point line, 2 of 4 from the free throw line, 1 offensive, 5 defensive, giving him 6 rebounds today, 1 block, 14 minutes played. Again, that's another one with 14 minutes, just like Day that did an awful lot and had a pretty efficient game given the limited minutes.
Yeah, just, a solid contribution today. And Wes said he's still
scratching the surface.
Still dealing with the flu stuff. Said they were still getting him like fluids and hydration and all that stuff up to like yesterday. So he wasn't past it.
I think the biggest thing though is 14 minutes for him today, no fouls.
Yeah. He gets a little foul prone at times. Tyler's offensive rebound and follow was good to see. Agreed. He muscled that one up, which, when you talk about him at his size, he's going to need to do more of that going forward.
Dan, 7 points, 3 of 10 from the field, 1 of 5 from the 3-point line, 2 offensive, 2 defensive, giving him 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 fouls, a turnover, and 2 blocks, 23 minutes played today.
Yeah, I think if you'd have told me get Dan 23 minutes, you don't overwork him. Maybe he doesn't have his best day of the season, but that's okay.
It's only his 4th game.
And he still gives you he's the guard version of like the energy that Justin Jackson gave his teams.
For whatever it's worth, he did lead the team along with Dylan Mitchell with plus 33 in the plus minus, which that's pretty good day.
That's plus a lot. Plus a lot.
Pretty much plus the lead.
Yeah. They won by 35. He was plus 33.
Right. Jizzle James, 7 points, 3 of 9 from the field, 1 of 6 from the 3-point line, 1 offensive, 3 defensive rebounds, giving him 4, 8 assists for Jizzle, 1 foul, 1 block, 2 steals, and apparently he's boys with Jermaine Burton.
Is that why Burton was there Friday night?
I don't know. I just saw the picture that he posted on Instagram and made its way to Twitter. 30 minutes played.
Did you see Tony took a picture in their seats Friday night at US Heritage?
Yeah, and he was in the
and Burton was in the row behind him.
I did see that.
Yeah.
I'm impressed Tony's a grown-ass man wearing a basketball jersey still.
Yeah, it's a rough look. It's a rough look, grown-ass man.
Clearly I'm wearing a football jersey, but I can't rock the basketball jerseys anymore.
Yeah.
I've left those days behind me.
I don't blame you.
But 8 assists for Jizzle today. I like seeing that. Granted, 30 minutes of play. He did lead the team in minutes played today. But
Some of that because Day was in foul trouble, and they didn't have Connor. So Jizzle was going to be stuck on the floor probably a little bit more than they would have liked, but such is life. Great defense from Jizzle as well. I mean, their two guards are pretty dang good. Like they're two starting guards. What's Dozier averaging 10 a game. Stevenson was averaging 11, and Newton was 8.5. So they did a pretty good job. Newton didn't score. So they did a pretty good job keeping those guys. Stevenson got 11, but he had to go 5 of 14 and 0 of 3 from 3 to get there. You'll take that every day of the week.
Moving along, CMOS, 7 points today, 2 of 7 from the field, 1 of 6 from the 3-point line, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, 1 offensive rebound, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 25 minutes played. I know you talked earlier about Dan doing everything else when he's out there, and so you can live with a 3 for 10 day. I guess I feel like I'd like to see CMOS doing a little bit more of the gritty stuff. I know he hangs out around the 3-point line, so it's hard to kind of do some of those things, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's only so many guys that you can have all flying around in the same space, and it feels like Aziz, Dan, and Dylan, like when they're in and around the rim for
and
rebounding.
I guess it's not like you're getting beat on the rebounds often.
Right. I think your job for CMOS is just make sure your guy's blocked out. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need you to be super aggressive, like crashing to the rim on the glass. Make sure your assignment is taken care of, and go let the 3 freaks go, vacuum up all the rebounds.
I'm gonna stand on the hill that I want to see him do more of the Euro stuff and get to especially on nights when he's 1 for 6 from the 3-point line. If that's the case, just warm yourself up getting a bucket to fall down and around the rim.
I will say, like 3 or 4 of the threes he took, though, you absolutely want him to take.
They were good looks, sure.
Yeah.
Wide open. It's not to say he was taking bad shots. It's just a matter of if they're not falling, get yourself going.
Like there were a couple against Dayton and against Xavier that were like, okay, man, like maybe you're not feeling it today. Let's not try the 27-foot heat check.
The logo threes.
Yeah. Like if you've made 4 of 5, I'll give you the logo 3 just to see if we can get the camera reaction. So to the Jordan, I guess I'm gonna make everything today. But if you're 2 for 8, maybe let's not see as many of those. Real quick, was Connor sick? No. Wes said after the game, some soreness in his foot. It's been there for about a week. He played through it at Dayton, so it's not something clearly that is, a threat to have him miss an extended period of time or anything like that. But they decided they were going to get him through Dayton, and then they were going to shut him down for a week or so, couple days now. But I would guess he'll be ready to go by the time they come back from break on the 26th, I think Wes said.
CJ Frederick, speaking of CJ, had 3 points today, 1 of 2 from the field, both from 3. 0 for 1 from the free throw line, but he did get to the free throw line. Well done. 1 defensive rebound, 1 assist, 12 minutes played. And that, like we said earlier, most minutes he's played all season.
Yeah. It's good to see from CJ. That's an opportunity with Connor out that you're going to be able to get CJ a little bit more run again, especially Day in foul trouble. So you maybe don't use as much of Jizzle and Day together. We didn't see it. I think it was one stretch that we saw it it was like the early middle of the second half, but we didn't see a whole lot of Jizzle and Day together. So that's going to open up the door for CJ to get some minutes.
Alvin Zella had 2 points today, giving him 5 on the season. None of them from the field, only from the free throw line. He was 0 for 1 from the field today, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, 1 defensive rebound, 2 fouls, 1 steal, 5 minutes played.
The one foul was crap, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, the big fella gave you a couple minutes today. Good to get him out there and reward the hard work in practice.
Well, speaking of crap fouls, I too thought Wes was going to get a tech early on when the ref called Day for the second foul.
Well, the technical was stupid too. Like they were jawing at each other a little bit, but I don't think they were doing anything technical worthy. And then they get Day on the foul as soon as they called the technical. Like, okay, you made your point, guy with the whistle. You made your point. Thanks.
Rayvon and Josh Reed combined were 0 for 1 from the field with 1 rebound, 4 fouls, and 9 minutes played.
Ray got 3 fouls in 3 minutes. That's getting your money's worth, boy.
Crazy.
I'm coming in and getting mine. I'm crashing into some people. We'll see how it goes.
Well, that was the only thing he had on the stat line outside of minutes played. So,
yeah, neither of them. Those were the only 2 guys that didn't score. Right,
Josh's 3-pointer did not even come close to the rim.
Anywhere near it. It's bad.
It was that.
This is bad.
That's everybody.
Yep. All right. I don't.
Non-con is over. Non-con is over.
It is Big 12 time, boys and girls.
10-1 is what we said we wanted to see. We expected to probably lose a game, and that was where we kind of set the highest bar, and hopes of finishing at 10-1. I think if you were 11-0, you're probably Brent. But outside of that, I'm very pleased with 10-1 going into conference play.
Yeah, I think that was the target. It's so hard in the non-con. Like you're gonna have an off night, and unfortunately, their off night was at Villanova. But
could be worse. Could have been against a Grambling State.
Right. They didn't lose a bye game. They beat X and Dayton. I'll take it. And the Villanova loss probably ends up being a quad 1 loss, which on your resume, there's nothing about a quad 1 loss that hurts you.
Right.
UC won the region. Yeah. NKU, Dayton, Xavier, and then the exhibition with Ohio State. They won the Ohio Valley Conference this year.
I don't like the graphics and different people who have been talking about the Ohio State game as part of this season because it wasn't.
No, but it is fun when you're talking about being the king of the tri-state. You did play Ohio State in front of, I don't know, was it 8,000 people? Like, you want bragging rights that you beat everybody in the general vicinity? You can take that. Didn't play Miami this year. They'd have played Miami and given Travis Steele a loss. That would have completed the map, if you will.
Or even if you won't.
If you won't, that's fine. I don't think we'll have the BBP tomorrow. Might be off Tuesday and Wednesday. And then BCJ podcast on Thursday. Probably do BCJ podcast on Thursday this week and maybe I don't know what you guys. We'll see what Dave's got going on New Year's Day that night. I don't think I'll have anything.
I don't know.
We'll talk it out. We'll talk it out behind the scenes. But this week, you will not see us on Christmas night here. We will be here on Thursday night, the 26th. So, All right, that's going to wrap it up. Bearcats 84, Grambling State 49. The non-con is over. The Bearcats are 10-1. Big 12 play is up next. That is the Aftermath, live from the Cincinnati Light Studios, brought to you by Mio's Pizza, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!